the slightly late stream. Yes, I know I said I was going to start at 1:30, and I know it is 1:45, which means I am late starting the stream, and I know shenanigans are ensuing, but Bob. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's, sorry about that. I'm getting, I have to redo a whole thing, but that is for later, and right now we have to go to, and, oh, today's Bruncalonia Day. Okay, I know I'm late, but I'm here now, and apparently have. Please stay. Please work. Connection. Okay, 3.8. The problem is that I feel like if it would just take more of the CPU, they could actually work well, and it just won't, because I don't know why it what's taking up all this other CPU. Like, do I need it? Is the operating system really taking up so much CPU? Then why is it very? I don't know. Anyway, my point is, boom, 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 boom. Maybe I need more RAM instead of more CPU. My point is that we are going, no, we weren't doing this. We were going to Bruncalonia, which means I need to open this up and go to dock down, this one, and, no, I need to Bruncalonia. I don't know why it's, why it doesn't show up in my, there we go. Okay. We'll have to figure out, exactly why, that should work, right? Beautiful. Okay, now we just have to, get a proper, there we go. Bruncalonia. Hello, welcome. We're not doing 480k today. We're doing Bruncalonia today because it is really fun lore setting and I'm excited about it. But, and I've been, I just forgot to take the Warhammer 40k tag off. I think, if I recall correctly, we still, afternoon tea, yeah, just tabletop RPGs, so, hello and welcome. Let's see if we can't, go to, where else? Let me just do one. I always get a little tricky first thing. It takes a little while to get, okay. But yeah, Bruncalonia. So, the thing about Bruncalonia is that it is a spaghetti western fantasy setting, and what we've been doing last time I did Broncolini was going through the district, seeing what was what. I could actually do some fun things with these. So, Zapa Espadas. Ooh. If you have any questions, we can go back and I'm gonna start with the Broncolini names. Here we go. New monsters and enemies. Bounty Kingdom, and then I'm gonna Forgotten Countries. Torgiana. Okay, let's go with Torgiana, and then we're gonna start with Torgiana, and Signore, Extravaganza, and Marionettes. Ooh, Extravaganza is the one that's like the Fae, and so it's pretty cool, honestly. But what I was gonna do was go to yeah, because there is no official Fae sorcery for D&D 5th edition. There's no Fae subclass for sorcerers, which is the most Travis thing, especially because they did Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Like, they introduced Wild Beyond the Witchlight, so why not create Fae sorcerer for that? They put in subclasses, they had to do it. They had to put subclasses in, they could have put a Fae sorcerer so easily, and it is the best sorcery bloodline in Pathfinder, and it's just the coolest, and it's just not a thing that they have. So but yeah, that's one of the frustrating things about 5th edition in the shenanigans. All right, but the Torigana region. Hang on, the problem with that is it's 90 right for the map. Here we go. Yeah, Torigana is, if we look, yeah, 'cause that's the Mistide. Torigana is which one? I have them listed. Torigana is 7. So it's mentioned a lot. It's right up here. So I think, yeah, so it's, let me zoom in a little bit for this map. Fiorasia. So Torigana is here, which is down to the, on the western coast, on the edge of the Sea of Towers, as opposed to on the Mare Monstrum and the other oceans, which I think is, so it's on the other coast, which, pretty good. Oh, Torigana, that's what I'm mixing it up with, but, okay. We're gonna go to 10 Bop, and then we're gonna, there we go, and then reduce it back down to a readable size. Full of fortresses, towers, lighthouses, castles, strongholds, and villages. Every prince or mayor rules only as far as the city walls, and each village is disputed among powerful neighboring lordships. The region owes its name to the immense hanging towers, heritage of a lost era. Torrigiana. Those also lie sunk and forgotten among the marshes of the putrid Merema, and even in the depths of the mysterious Sea of Towers. Oh, the towers is that's the sea to the northwest, which is pretty cool. Okay, no worries. I'll be here. Let me check one other thing. If you're gonna pop out. I'm going to go to this one. Okay. Let's do that. And then we'll go to shenanigans. Let's see. Torgana is rife with intrigues, quarrel among families, struggles for power, conspiracies, armed scuffles, all of which happen regularly several times a year. Oh, wow. So they got all sorts of freaking nonsense going on, which is kind of understandable. This one seems like a more intrigue heavy and not beautiful. Okay. Fun stuff. Let's see. Conspiracies, armed scuffles, all of which happen regularly several times a year. The atmosphere here is warm and enchanted, and visitors perceive that this is a land blessed with sunshine, fine wine, and good living. When dwelling in or passing through Toriyana, you can't help noticing how the presence of turquoises, blue fairies, of hobs, talking animals, and other portents totally permeates everyday life. Extravaganza, the mysterious and paradoxical power that governs wonders and magic, is very strong here. In this very place grows trees whose magical wood is used to make the talking marionettes so admired in the rest of the kingdom. There's no shortage of wines and meats in the cities of Toriyana. Indeed, Kutya, inhabited by prosperous bankers and shopkeepers, lends its name to the mythical land of Kutyanga, where you can drink, laugh, and be merry. As well as the celebrated Fioracia, the best-known city in the region. Toriyana also home to mephic and disturbing mephitic. Okay, we're gonna do a vocabulary check. I do not know what mephitic means. Foul-smelling and noxious, especially gas or vapors. All right. Mephitic and disturbing Merema, and to the charming Borgo Striciano, governed for centuries by Della Guerra dynasty, who, despite their belligerent sounding surname, were wise and munificent patrons of mountebanks and musicians. Penumbra, Toriyana, on the wings of the Gibberwing. Toriyana is rich and powerful, a fertile and tranquil land where cities and village militias occasionally clash, but in an orderly manner and without causing devastation. Lest harvests and businesses be harmed. Farmhouses, towns, villages, and estates make up the landscape, thoroughly framed and colonized since the imperial days. Most of the rivers here flow within solid embankments. Stone-paved streets and bridges traverse the landscape, long transformed into vineyards, olive groves, and peaceful farmland. Even the woods, mountains, and cliffs have long been free of beasts, dragons, and monsters of any particular interest, but are instead systemically exploited by farmers, woodcutters, and miners. The cities are important centers of community life, culture, politics, and trade. And many of them represent real economic powers, ever ready to battle each other for bordering strip of land. but also reasonably capable of coexisting without major problems. Apart from the wealthy and beautiful Fiorazia, a gem of art and gardens, Franks and Florence, the twin center of Mazza and Ferrata in the north, are known for their arms and armor industries. What is Florence? Okay. We're looking up, they're using a lot of fancy language, and we're learning. Oh, florin is a coin. An old British coin specifically, but it's specifically a term for coin. Twin center of Mazza and Ferrata are the northern. In the north are known for their arms and armor industries, as well as for the formidable extravaganza and feud masses of marble that defend them. Masses of marble. The rival cities of Chissa, with its famous hanging towers, the largest in the region, to know, and Livore, with its large commercial port, also thrive on iron and steel craftsmanship. Along the Scarno, the Secchio, and the Ombroto, and their tributaries. They're also the Molterra, a Disney antiquity of Disney antiquity, the gloomy Tristoia, Fritole, rumored to have gateway to other times and districts. Larderello, populated by the Cintalians, the region's only Sylvan community, now completely civilized. St. Perdenzio, named after the patron saint of lost causes, and the Calfuria Coast, a refuge for mermaids, talking donkeys, cabin dolls, and green fishermen. Well, okay then. Hang on. There's 3 rivers. Oh, those are the 3 rivers. Problem is, you look at the map and they don't. I know a lot of are specifically designed to not map, but. So, oh, I see. Good. Oh, they're both. All 3 are marked. All 3 rivers are marked on the map. There we go. Borgos Tichello. Oh yeah, and it's got 3 cities too. It's thriving. Gutta is here. There you go. Okay, and then Borgos Ticciano. Then we got the 3 rivers. That flow to the sea, obviously, but you know. Okay. Interesting. Mm-hmm. It sounds really cool so far. All right. No, you have to do this. Okay, that's fine. Particularly famous for the powerful influence exerted by extravaganza throughout its territory and daily life. Even in its villages, fairies, elves, giant snails, talking animals, and all sorts of wonders are considered commonplace around here. Through no coincidence, the town of Cuziagna, home to the trees from which the marionettes are made, is also located in Torriana. A center well known throughout the country is Cherryburg, the border. On the border with Guziangye, the entire village controlled by the Cherry family, the most famous famous puppeteers in the kingdom, most famous puppets. I'm pretty sure puppeteers in the kingdom. Harry, let me check something real quick. Let me check the map real quick. No, Gotiagarin is like a is the region in which Kutya is. Okay. That makes sense. And then Cherryburg is on the border of that. Okay. Good, good. Famous puppeteers in the kingdom. Borgo Striciano seems to have been founded deliberately in a place that no one can reach, owing to buildup of natural and human obstacles. With roughly 250 inhabitants, the burg is located in the center of the bay, on the Torrigiana coast, right in front of the Gorgon Islands. The small archipelago is made up of 3 islands: Uriel, Steno, and the larger Medusa, or Isle of Horses, where an equine people is said to live under the command of a blind and highly intelligent black stallion who chooses a queen every year from among the village women. The name Borgo Striciano because of the stricia, which, or fear, in the ancient language of the Stricia, of the Porsenians. The burg is now a cluster of shacks that surround and serve the monastery of St. Patron. Patron is the saint's actual name. Yeah, of course it is. Because why not? Saint Patron. That's a saint of quite noted. I mean, hello. Welcome back. Cool beans, cool beans. There's this town called Borgo Striciano, which is 250 people, specifically built in a place that is really hard to get to, where there's 3 islands, and one of them has said to be an equine people living under, which is sentient horses living under the command of a blind and highly intelligent black stallion. Apparently chooses the queen from the village women, so the human queen. And they, all of the town serves the monastery of St. Patron, with Patron being the saint's name because, of course, it is. Borgo Striciano has only one inn, named the Marble, after a gambling game played by local oldies. What with breaking one's back for the friars on even days, and doing one's knees for the nobility on odd days, the only opportunity for fun are market Sundays, when the town square is filled with street actors, swindlers, acrobats, witches, storytellers, and the great year-end fireworks show. Like a lover, the mephitic swamp circles the whole of Borgo in a close embrace. To the north, it gives way to the Bramblewood, haunted by the soldiery of the Vasi, a wealthy Fiorcasia family who control the area from their villa on the Tempest Cove promontory. Oh, so there's a family from the capital who control the area. Okay. Vasi. Alright. To the east, as well as farming estates, each in the clutches of a family of toothless, violent, and ignorant peasants, lies the tangle of shrubland and hills black as ink and full of wild boars as large as milk rhinos. Okay, I've never heard of milk rhino. I'm gonna look it up to see if that's just a weird... of domesticated rhinoceroses. Apparently, apparently someone has domesticated rhinoceroses for milk. That is a thing that happened in the world. Okay. And I bet milk rhinoceroses are obviously bigger and like dairy cows where they get fat because they're, living their best domestic lives and not worrying about, running around and burning calories doing stuff. But big is wild boars that are big as milk rhinos. Okay. And they're all right. That sounds way more terrifying. Wild boars, by the way, speaking from a country that has wild boars, are horrifying monstrosities that should not, even as they exist, and those that are, if they swelled up to the size of milk rhinos, that would be horrific and terrifying. All the families in the district keep away from the hills and the shrubland. Yeah, and caution travelers to do the same. Yeah, I would too if there were giant wild boars living there. Normal wild boars are bad enough. Lands around Borgo Stracciano, they warn, they're the ancient pacts with Mother Nature that it is wise to respect. Don't pull a leaf, kill an animal, or pick a mushroom if you don't want to catch the malady that turns offenders into plants, making flowers sprout from their skin and bone, turning lungs into spongers, and inflicting the most atrocious torments. Okay, so you get turned into a plant monster if you screw up anything. Okay. According to the Burbs Fibbers, the hills will open their eyes one day. Rise in the form of a huge giant called Gelimontifries and trample those who have not respected the ancient pacts with nature. Okay. That is a thing. The Monastery of St. Patron hosts nuns and monks in equal numbers, divided by an impassable wall. The Idris religious are among the most valid scribes in the kingdom, and their copy room hosts very ancient volumes on which the rule of absolute secrecy is in force. On which a rule of absolute secrecy is in force. Some of these ecclesiasts travel to the kingdom in search of new tomes to copy, but all of them, once dead, will return to the monastery's ossuary, where the ritual formula non est reventur, there is no return, will be engraved on their skull. The swamp hag. The coastline is a mile-long lagoon, overgrown with weeds and typhods, good for cattle, daggers, and swamp towhead, with which local artisans stuff chairs. Wayfarers sink to their calves in muddy pools to the croaking of toads and pollywogs and the constant buzzing of mosquitoes, carriers of malaria. They make camp in the necropoles of the Porsenians, inhabited by ghosts and demons, and risk meeting the swamp hag inside any patch of shadow. Healing priestesses and only heiresses of ancient wisdom, according to some. Healing priestess and only heiress to an ancient wisdom, according to some. The hideous child-chewing Befana, according to others. The swamp hag is the most influential figure in Borgo Stracciano. Legends spring up all around her. So either she's a healing priestess and with ancient wisdom, or she's a hideous child-chewing monster. And no one can agree. Maybe she's both. Legends spring up all around her. There are those who say that the plowed lamps, horrible flowers whose fruit is similar to a human orb that observes your every step, are eyes the witch uses to supervise her territory. There are those who attribute her omniscience to the bramble and dung homunculi who have repeatedly attacked the horses of merchants and soldiers of fortune. It is whispered that the sorceress's name is Velia the Mutable, and that she changes her features as a noblewoman does gowns on special occasions. Village elders claim that the hag is an evil angel capable of spellbinding her victims to make them live with her amidst the towering rotten weeds, reciting tales and dramas like chained actors in a company of conscripts at her command. The Befana can read the past, present, and future with cards. Often, on market days, she appears in the square to deceive and bewitch children with her codswallop. More rarely, she is sighted in the north, near the Bramblewood, an impenetrable jungle of thorns, or at the Villa de Vassi, on the rocky promontory of the Tempest Cove. The Vassi family being the family from the capital who comes... not from the capital, but from the city who holds the villa down there and runs the land. What affairs bind the elderly woman to the noble family of Fioracia remains a mystery. Fioracia being the city. So the Vassi family is this powerful family, and they have in their employ this hag, but she can look like anything. She changes her face. She's evil. She's good. She's powerful. She's maybe has eyes under her command. She might be able to come out homunculuses. No one knows. Sounds kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's pretty cool. Right. Right. Oh. That was a side note. Hang on. Okay. The nuns have a luxuriant garden of medicinal plants, as well as all the scribes and stuff. It is rumored that in the village that they mix the creed with another religion, perhaps even more ancient than the Porsenians. In rites where the future is read in the flight and entrails of seagulls, they are also said to hunt black creatures that crawl under the sand, and to adore the Mother of Night, a primordial female divinity painted on the wall of the caves in the hills that few know how to reach. Even though all the villagers have thought so at one time or another, they need to be drunk as skunks before they'll let it slip. The holy women of the convent are somehow in league with the swamp hag. Okay. So there's a swamp hag, there's the holy women of the convent, who are maybe also devoted to other religions, but it's kind of a thing that no one talks about, and dang, okay. And then, of course, there's the Devassi of Borgo Strincio. Villa Devassi is the manor house of the Devassi family. On stormy nights, the villa overlooking the sea is the best place to observe lightning storms and luminous omens flashing above the Gorgons. Those are the 3 islands out on the ocean. The largest of which is run by a horse who may or may not have a human wife. Because of course. Romolado Devassi, head of the dynasty whose labyrinthic family tree is full of strange beings, is a scholar and collector of ancient texts who settled in Borgo Cinciano precisely because its proximity to the monastery, having decided to be served by its inhabitants and farmers. Relations of Romualdo Devassi can be found throughout the kingdom, each carrying, like a family coat of arms, a story and a particular curse. From Flemma Devassi, a gifted who was born burning her mother's womb and transforms everything she touches into ashes, to Matilda Devassi, who was so good at disguising herself as a pirate that she became a ship's commander, to the most absurd Knight Nasa Devassi, an actual nose whose entire body was cut off and perished in battle, while his mind and feisty spirit remained in his nostrils. Well, okay then. All of the Devassi stories are kept in the villa's huge library, which contains enough volumes to fill 5 carts. All these books can leave the library except for immaculately white volume placed in the central room on an inky black altar, the Book of Secrets of Devassi, full of answers and secrets. It can only be read by those who are willing to make a pact with the book by writing their own secret on one of its pages and watching it disappear and replaced by someone else's secret, often accompanied by a mission to fulfill. Oh, wow. So he has the magical the Devassi family runs this magical library. They're full of insanity, and every Devassi born is apparently has weird things happen to them. And they and they have a magical tome of secrets where you have to make a pact with the book by writing a secret of your own in there, and then if it likes you, you get the pact, and then you get a secret from somebody else, and it might give you a mission to do that as well. So that's the only way anyone can ever read it. And you just have it there. And then, of course, they have all the other books, which contain innumerable knowledge, and they apparently let people read them, so that's cool. But it's like a whole thing. You have to go through the Devasi family and deal with them. That would be a brilliant, cool thing for DM. Yeah, Borgos Torrigiano sounds really cool. Like, this is just, oh, dang. While most inexperienced bands keep away from Borgos Torrigiano because it's so hard to reach, some full-fledged knaves can't resist the call of the swamp hag who needs swords for her own mysterious affairs, or the gold of the Romualdo Devasi and the monks of St. Patron, always in search of cursed objects and tomes for their collection, or the wheedling of the nuns or the need of some district family to hire mercenaries for one of its glorious rural wars. Whatever the reason, even a wrong turn in their paths from venturing into these muddy and malaria-infected lands, knaves are advised to keep in mind the warning written on the foreheads of 1,000 skulls in the ossuary of the monastery. Non est retortor. There is no return. Okay. Hang on. Wait a second. We missed a page. Yeah. Yeah, so Kutsiagyan, a home to the trees which marionettes are made, is another part of Torrigiana. And then, of course, there's Cherryburg on the border with the district around the a border with the other town that has the greatest puppeteers. Hang on. And then this one, entire valleys of Torrigiana are scattered with settlements of Malbranche, who gathered there to live in unrestrained and carefree manner, as those former infernal jailers tend to. Devil's Valley, Orgy Valley, Hump Valley, Horny Valley all owe their names to these friendly and open communities. Oh, wow. Malibranche are unique to Brancalonia. They are, they're demons that come back. They essentially escape hell and go mortal. Hang on. Because it's really cool. A cool story, actually. Jinx. Okay, hang on. The table of contents. Malbranche is, and then we'll go back. Literally devils. Former subject of Lucifuge, they proclaimed the great refusal and left Inferno to walk in the open under the sun and stars again. With the end of their infernal service, they lost many of their previous supernatural powers. So basically, they're demons that gave up on hell and just decided to come and walk among the humans and lose all their supernatural powers. Becoming almost ordinary humans, barely marked by minor beast-like peculiarities and instincts. Even the memories from before they left the underworld and knowledge of an eternity of damnation are like hazy dreams. The moment their great refusal is a sort of rebirth into the earthly world, where they themselves choose the mortal form in which they will incarnate. The first to rebel centuries ago was the legendary Diavolmano, the great human devil, who later found work as a circus attraction. Since then, several hundred among the damned have followed his example. The great beast looks with hatred upon the twice rebels who turn against him, but let's face it, the great beast tends to look at everyone like that, so who gives a damn? Ooh, they have fun nicknames. Jolly Goods, Goats, Hornies, Poor Devils. And they have names like Dragnazo, Frosthor, Ugelmut, Wildhog, Rub- Rubicant, Slovenislob, etc. Often use nicknames and stage names. So they're kind of like made to be kind of like tieflings. Although they've roamed the kingdom for a while, Malebranche are still regarded with great distrust because of their nature, appearance, and origin. After all, they are foreigners, they come from afar, their faces are ugly, their ways bizarre. They're often vulgar and foul-mouthed and have no respect for local customs and belief. These are all things that don't go down well with guards, bigots, and the hoi polloi. The latter do tend to have this reaction even with people from neighboring villages, so who gives a damn? Strangely enough, priests, monks, and the faithful of the calendar are not hostile toward Malebranche, but rather consider them a worthy examples of redemption. Because if you can work for Lucifer himself and then decide to be redeemed, anyone can get redemption. Their very existence and the fact they brought about the Great Refusal proves, on the one hand, that Inferno exists and is a nasty place, on the other one, that anyone can give it a wide berth if they follow the creed and the teachings of the saints. Constitution score increases by 1, charisma by 2. Born again on Earth on the day of their great refusal, no matter what appearance they used to have up to that moment, they incarnate a body with a physiology very similar to humans, albeit they present in bestial features and generally in the form of adults. From that moment on, they age as a human or gifted. About the same size and build as humans, size is medium, base walking speed 30 feet. Dark vision, trained with the darkest caves of Malabolga, the Malebranche have learned the unholy art of the Hell Brawl that has made them reckless and tireless fighters. You have advantage on all saving throws made during a brawl. Brawl is a kind of, it's an extra feature in Bruncalonia that lets you do non-lethal combat in a fun way. Malebranche are different from each other and display particular traits called hell traits due to their infernal heritage. Your Malebranche has 2 of the following infernal hell traits. So you pick 2, small wings, too small to allow flight, but sufficient to glide. You're able to use your wings while falling, you take no fall damage. When you use Hellflame's weapon, each creature in a 50-foot cone or 5-foot wide, 30-foot long line must make a dexterity saving throw. The DC for the saving throw equals 8 plus con plus proficiency bonus, or 8 plus your con modifier plus proficiency bonus. And they take 2d6 damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one. Damage increases to 3d6 at 6th level, and you can't only use it once per short or long rest. You have sturdy and snappy goat legs with hooves. Base walking speed increases to 40 feet, and you have goat hooves. Hell Voice is you can cast the Charm Person spell once with this trait and regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this spell, so you can charm 1 person per day. Hell Claws. Your hands have grown mighty claws. You have climbing speed of 20 feet. In addition, your claws are natural weapons, which you use to make unarmed strikes. If you hit with them, you deal a slashing damage equal to 1d4 plus strength modifier instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Hell Ears. Pointed and feral ears give you incredible hearing, capable of catching even the cries of the most distant damned. You gain proficiency in the perception skill, and you add double your proficiency bonus to any perception checks that require hearing. So, you get to extra good hearing if you get the ears. But yes, you get 2 traits. And I guess if you get anything, you can probably do stuff like horns and stuff that only have cosmetic effects. I'm sure the DM just will let you work with that. But I'm gonna 6, right? That's Tordiana. But yeah, so there's valleys. There's a number of valleys scattered with settlements of Malebranche who ended up coming out of Inferno, basically, and settling on, land. So there's like any number of them kicking around Tordiana. There's Kutsa and Kutsiana. Everyone knows the extravaganza is one of the main features of Tordiana's landscape and daily life. This takes on a surreal and disturbing role in Kusiana, the district surrounding Kusa Egina. Kuksa, yeah. Everything's charming here. Orchards loaded with salami, rivers of grappa. Oh, okay. Orchards with salami, rivers of wine. Boulders of perogmio cheese, expanses of breadsticks swaying in a breeze that smells of macaroni casserole. Kutsiana, however, is not all lemon cake. Many of any danger lurks in this edible realm. The local fauna, for example, flying, spit-roasted birds, roast pigs with whole apples in their mouths, and all manner of walking delicacies, have a peculiar habit of trying to get themselves eaten. Though at first this may seem incredibly lucky, knaves who stop to feast will soon discover that, without a huge effort on their part, they will find it almost impossible not to go on eating until their serving is finished, even after a sixth lamb has jumped into their mouths. Consequently, they could literally explode from overeating. That is... wow, okay. At the center of this fantastic and incredible land, steeped in extravaganza, is Kusa, the city of toys, so called because of its permanent fair of games, pastimes, illustrated parchments, bizarre shows. Inside its high walls, everything is magical and wonderful. Any hour of the day or night, you will find into people queuing in order to enter the fair's pavilions or pass through its narrow doors. Youngsters dressed up for parties, harlequins, street artists, comedians, painters, musicians, oddly costumed individuals, junk peddlers, and wonderful finds. This permanent affair attracts knaves and onlookers from far and wide, particularly children and idlers, who usually get there on wagons and stagecoaches driven by buttermen who pick up travelers from all over the kingdom to bring them to the city. And when the morning comes and someone has vanished into thin air, or when, after a week's revelry, visitors find themselves with no money and a bag full of colored paper, well, nobody seems to mind. Certainly not the old curmudgeons, the mysterious lords of Kusa, who have controlled the city and its eternal fair for centuries. Dang, okay. So it's like Vegas, Disneyland mixed together, so it's kind of cool to go to, but you can get into all sorts of trouble. And it's... wow. Surrounded by literal... wow. Okay. Maremma Impestata. Maremma Impestata is a large and boggy area with labyrinths of marshes stretching along much of the coast of Torriana. A few hills provide dry places for repose. The rest is nothing but a fetid swamp teeming with mosquitoes. Child kidnapping witches, cutthroats, and famous Butarati, the local bandits known for their outstanding skills as horsemen. The worst... okay, so witches, cutthroats, and the famous Butarati. Local bandits known for their outstanding skills as horsemen. The worst area of all is the Avasleen Swamp, an extremely dangerous place said to be infested with mosquitoes that bite other mosquitoes. Archwitches who kidnap the children of ordinary witches, cutthroats specialize in cutting the throats of other cutthroats, and Butarati who ride other Butarati. Okay, that is the worst of the worst. That is the nightmare realm that you don't want. And then jobs and most knave assignments in the region involve feuds and disputes between cities, citadels and fiefdoms, pranks and scams set up by citizens against their friends or rivals, and assorted predicaments to have to do with fairies, goblins, and all kinds of weirdness. Adventures taking place in the lands of Kutsiagna in Maremma Impasta or the surroundings of Borgo Stricciano almost always use additional follies and lethal dangers. In the heart of Fioracia, Puiso Gimpo, lord of the Bolgia of Thieves, often has jobs for trusted rascals. Fioracia being the main city, the main city of the region, or at least the main banking and financial center of the region, and Kutia being the main cultural fun center of the region, and then Lorgos Trisha being the main knowledge center, I guess. It's got the monastery where everyone comes, like all the scribes and the shenanigans and the night hags. the night hag who goes around and does all the things. Another very important center of Toriana is Haena, a city of bankers and horsemen dominated by the dreaded Mount of Fiascos. The most powerful bank in the kingdom, it prides itself on never having suffered robbery, theft, fraud, or outstanding receivables by its customers, is a merchant wishing to invest in the proceeds of his black camellia trafficking with Serindia, a codiciaro who needs secure wages and funds for his military campaigns, or a knave who wants to safeguard the loot of a lifetime where nowhere is safer than the Mount of Fiascos. The bank was founded on a hilltop overlooking the city of Haena by Sir Seraman Nona, a Malbranche with an unrivaled nose for business. After almost 300 years of trafficking and speculating, the old devil is still firmly in command of the Institute, which now boasts branches in all major cities in the peninsula and issues letters of credit accepted even overseas. Mount of Fiascos is known to finance entire merchant fleets and even to lend money to princes and soldans, competing aggressively with Oste caravankers, Vortagian bankers, and Lugar Rival hoteliers. Of course, much gossip circulates around the bank's success and tremendous economic power. There are those who question the nature of the cash handled by Mamona, and even suspect a colossal operation of laundering money from Inferno. In short, veritable devil's dung. The Mount is still forbidden dream for all those knaves aspiring to achieve their elusive big heist and rob the vaulted rooms one day. So far, every attempted bank robbery has resulted in a tragic fiasco where, whence comes the bank's name. You can't steal in a thief's home, the saying among bounty brothers goes. Yeah, so apparently Mount of Fiascos is this bank. That is pretty cool. Honestly. Hiragana sounds really fun. Alright. Wait a second. I need to check something very quickly. 10/8, that's today at 4:40. Okay. It's gonna be fine. And then, of course, there's the Borgo Striciano, which is the whole thing with their nonsense. And then there's Spoletaria. When still part of the kingdom of the two Celias, was to act as a frontier march and garrison against horrors and fugitives from Penumbria. Okay. Hang on. There's a lot. Now this region is no longer under anyone's control. Its fortified citadels have become one of the main recruiting centers for mercenary gangs and sellsword companies. It is often here that the highly feared Penumbrians, renowned for their cruelest killers plying the battlefields of the kingdom, find recruitment when fleeing their homeland. Again, it is here that, in the absence of other occupation, daredevil captains and marauders put together companies ready for anything and head to Via Capia, bent on looting. After all, what you do in Penumbria stays in Penumbria, right? The long military tradition of these districts also has fostered the flourishing of fencing schools of all kinds, and today this is one of the hothouses of the kingdom's best swordsmen and weapons masters, excelling in every technique, even the most secret and forbidden. Let me check something. Soliparia. Okay, so let me... Nope. We're gonna go to the... Not there. It's... The map. Here we go. Over mountain. Nope. Okay, me just... Where is... Oh yeah, they're in order. So Spolentaria is 8, which... it's this area, hang on. It's this small area here that probably broke off from this. Yeah, probably broke off from, probably, I'm guessing broke off from Alatia at some point, and now it's its own thing. Sounds about right. I am... Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna have to end the stream. Well, I mean, I don't have to end the stream here, but I think I probably should. I usually do hour-long streams. It's been almost 1 hour. Yeah, I'm probably gonna end the stream today. I really appreciate everyone stopping by, even if it's only a few of you. Eddie and a few others. I think we should probably raid Brush for Hire. A very fun artist who I raid quite often and is a good time. I appreciate everyone who came today and anyone who ended up watching the VOD later. And I will see all of you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Darktide. I promised, who did I promise? Kayla, that I would do, oh, well, yes, I guess so. Hello, and welcome. We were doing more Bunkalonia. There's a region, okay, hang on. I want to read this one last time because I think you're going to find it really cool. Okay. Torneganya, which has an entire freaking ridiculous nature, but, everyone knows that extravaganza is one of the main features of Torgiana's landscape and daily life. This takes on surreal and disturbing role in Kutsiagni, the district surrounding Kutsia. Everything is charming here. The orchards loading with salamis, rivers of grappa, boulders of pecorino cheeses, expanses of breadsticks swaying in a breeze that smells of macaroni casserole. Kutsiagni, however, is not all lamb and cake. Many dangers lurk in this edible realm. The local fauna, for example, splying spit-roasted birds and roast pigs with apples in their mouths, and all manner of walking delicacies, have a peculiar habit of trying to get themselves eaten. Though at first this may seem incredibly lucky, knaves who stop to feast will soon discover that without a huge effort on their part, they will find it almost impossible not to go eating until their serving is finished, even after a sixth lamb has jumped into their mouths. Consequently, they could literally explode from overeating. That's a thing. At the center of this fantastical and incredible land, steeped in extravaganza, is Kusa, the city of toys. So called because its permanent fare of games, pastimes, illustrated parchments, and bizarre shows. Inside its high walls, everything is magical and wonderful. At any hour of the day or night, you will run into people queuing to enter the fair's pavilions or pass through its narrow doors. Youngsters dressed up for parties, harlequins, street artists, comedians, painters, musicians, odd costumed individuals, junk peddlers, and wonderful finds. This permanent fair attracts knaves and onlookers from far and wide, particularly children and idlers, who usually go there on wagons and stagecoaches driven by buttermen who pick up travelers from all over the kingdom to bring them to the city. And when the morning comes and someone has vanished into thin air, or when after a week's revelry visitors find themselves with no money and a bag full of colored paper, well, nobody seems to mind. Certainly not the old curmudgeons, the mysterious lords of Kutsa, who have controlled the city and its eternal fair for centuries. That is a thing. And that's not even getting started on Borgos, the hag witch village to the south, or Turkiana is intense. It's got all sorts of stuff, and it sounds like a really cool place in and of itself to set a freaking game. And that's not counting all the other places that are also really fun places to set games. And Bruncalonia is really cool, okay? And yeah, Bruncalonia is just really cool. But yeah, we're gonna raid Brush for Hire. That seems to be the plan. Off we trot. Thank you all I really appreciate you coming. I really do. It's just awesome.